Welcome to another episode of Power Without Permission. Today's guest is Jessica Williamson. She is the author of Unstoppable Success and she's also a serial entrepreneur. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm so good.
So before we start the interview, I guess, who is Jessica Williamson before everything and before you kind of started your journey?
Yeah, okay. Well, Jessica Williamson was a Aussie child who loved to tell her parents where to be, when to be there. I did things very, very fast.
Yeah.
I used to run around the house as a child because for me walking was too slow. So if that paints a picture of then what my entrepreneurial journey looked like, it kind of makes sense.
And did you grow up in Australia?
Yes,
Yeah.
I grew up in Perth and I'm
Wow.
still in Perth. And people are always surprised when I say I'm from Perth because I'm just traveling around so much and exploring the world.
That's crazy. And did you grow up with parents who kind of instilled that value of business and mindset into you, or was that something that you've kind of developed yourself?
Yeah, I always feel like I don't know where it came from, but then obviously, like my mum was an artist. When I was growing up, she more so just worked random kind of jobs. But she started out before she had me. She was an artist and pursuing her career and traveling around doing that. And my dad, when we were really, really young, he kind of worked multiple jobs. We had one car. We'd have to get up at 5 a.m. and take him to work and then come back and get ready for school. But then later in life, he basically built his business, which is a paint shop, which is totally unrelated. But I think my parents always had was like this work ethic to just make things work regardless of the circumstances.
Yeah. So you feel like a lot of the skills that you've learned is from them as well?
Yeah, I think you definitely are a product of your environment, but there was nothing like we didn't grow up with money. We didn't, talk about business or wealth or anything like that. So I think part of it, I've always just had this delusional mindset that anything is possible.
Yeah.
But then I guess you just do pick up on things. However, my brother is completely opposite to me. So it's kind of like, I don't know.
I could tell you had a brother. You got the vibe, the energy.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got two. So I know definitely where you're coming from there.
What is it? Like a tough energy?
It's kind of like, it's not like a full masculine energy, but it's like a mix of the feminine with the masculine. Yeah, definitely. So you started your first business at such a young age. What gave you the confidence to take that leap? And what do you think people are most scared of when it comes to taking leaps in business?
Yeah, well, I started my first business when I was 22 with zero experience, zero clue what I was doing. I just decided that I was going to start a global fashion brand. And for me, it was kind of logical to just decide what you want and then go and do it. And then once I started talking to more business owners and even more so when I started getting into coaching and seeing more of the behind the scenes how people's brains work, I was like, oh, people don't just dream big and then of course you go and do it, because my brain's so logical. It's kind of just like, even though it's delusional, to me it's logical. It's like, of course you decide what you want and then you go and do it. But I think a lot of people don't dream big or don't go after it because as humans, our brains are hardwired to think about what might go wrong. I might look silly. Our society in Australia, unfortunately, is built around not standing out, not doing anything too crazy. And so for me, I kind of always knew what I was capable inside, but I didn't want anyone to know because I didn't want anyone to say, who are you to do that? So I didn't even tell my friends. I barely even told my family. And I definitely didn't tell the world. I didn't have my name anywhere. And I was like, I'm going to do this behind the scenes because I know what I'm capable of. And it was almost this subconscious, like I didn't actively think, let me not tell anyone. But I just didn't. And that was my safety mechanism, I think, to not create roadblocks for myself in a way.
Okay. So when you started out, you actually didn't tell people that you even Wow, I didn't know
No.
that about you.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't tell anyone, even my best friends. I told them once I was launching, which was
Okay.
like 6 months after I'd been creating the brand, creating the business. I just didn't tell them. And potentially it's like a self-protection thing for me.
Yeah.
I've always been hyper independent.
Yeah.
And then when I met my partner, I had to learn to let people know what you're doing. Because I remember
Yeah.
one time I would just booked myself a trip to Miami. I was like, of course I'm going. And I didn't even tell him.
Yeah.
And then my cousin was like, so when are you going to Miami? And I was like, yeah, I'm going here and I'm going there. And he's like, what do you mean
Like,
you're
have
going
you,
to Miami?
yeah, like just
And I was like,
randomly.
oh, oh, okay. I
Yeah.
have to actually tell people what I'm doing. And I
Yeah.
think for me, it was kind of, yeah, like I guess that self-protection that I wasn't actively thinking, let me not tell people or let me keep a secret. It
Yeah.
just, I'm just on a mission, and it's like everyone else was on a need to know
Basis.
basis.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That is insane. And also, like yesterday at the workshop, what I found so crazy was there were so many times where you asked these amazing questions and people were so scared even to stand up and like voice what they were thinking. And I
Yeah.
love how you coached people through that. And there were also times during the workshop where there were a lot of women that were like very emotional and you were very respectful of that. Is that something that you've learned over time since doing your one-on-one coaching and your tours and everything that you've
Yeah.
been doing, or
I think naturally, like people say I have, well, I get two types of people. One type of person who says, Jess, I am scared of you.
yeah.
And they say that in the best kind of way. Even my friends are like, Jess, I am petrified of you because you're
Yeah.
just like, get shit done.
Yeah.
Or people like, wow, you just have this calming energy. And I think it's a cool balance that I can bring out both and kind of like activate people where they're like, oh, why did I feel uncomfortable in that moment? Or why did I feel activated? And that's the only way we grow. But then
Yeah.
on the other side, I kind of have this calming energy as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you're into astrology, but I'm
I
an
love
Aries sun.
astrology. Yeah.
I'm an Aries sun. So I'll be like, get shit done. We're not bullshitting here.
Yeah.
So that's, I guess, the fiery side. But then I have Leo and Taurus, which is a bit more like nurturing. And the
Okay.
Leo is like, let me be visible, let me
Yeah.
do big things,
Yeah.
let me be iconic.
Yeah.
So I kind of have this blend, but
Yeah.
for me, so it's kind of natural, but then also I learned it. So a lot of my trainings and things, you learn like the number one thing that people do when someone's crying is they go and hug them. But in NLP, we get taught that if you hug them in that moment, it anchors a hug to that emotion.
Wow.
So when you're in a heightened emotional state, if you then have, I guess it's called a trigger.
Yeah.
So if someone presses you on a certain part and the emotion is so high that it's somewhat of a level of trauma or something like that, it actually imprints your brain.
Yeah. Wow.
And so then if someone hugs you, it activates that feeling.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily always happen in one moment, but if you have that over your whole life,
Yeah.
then you kind of, your brain gets wired to say, okay, when I'm sad, when I have a problem, I get love.
Oh my God, that's literally blown my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, when someone is having a breakthrough, I am quiet. Now, what most people do is they get uncomfortable and they feel the silence because they're worried about looking like they don't care, that they're just standing there silently. I will stand there and I will actually, my body language will go like this.
Yeah.
And open up to kind of hold that space for them.
And that's what I saw yesterday.
Yep.
You were holding the space, but I was witnessing it. And it was the most craziest thing I've ever seen because that woman was able to like just feel the emotion that she was
Yes.
going through.
Because what happens is if I jumped in and saved her and then tried to, oh, don't worry, feel better, then she wouldn't have had that breakthrough. Because
Yeah.
what that does is it says, emotion is bad, let me avoid it. But it's in those moments that the breakthroughs happen. So that's really powerful for me to hold that space.
Yeah.
And I sometimes coach my clients through this. So if I'm coaching people in a group setting, what will happen is one of them will feel uncomfortable. Go and hug them. or one of them will feel uncomfortable and like feel the silence, like, oh, don't worry, it's fine. And I'm like, no, 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 there's a reason why I'm silent for a moment. So I kind of coach my clients through that, one, so they can then help their clients, but also then we can facilitate like this beautiful group environment where people actually have the breakthroughs they need, because in day-to-day life, we don't give ourselves the space to feel what we need to feel, to even just think the thoughts that we've been pushing down because they're uncomfortable sometimes. But it was in that moment that, you know, one of the girls, she realized that I hate my business. Like, I can't do this. I don't want to live life like this. And so having that moment, now she gets to take action and shift it, which is really cool.
Yeah, and that's amazing. And on that note, what role do you think mindset plays in regards to being somebody as successful as yourself in business?
Like, I would say 100%, to be honest. Like, I mean, people say 80% mindset, 20%. I think without it, you cannot succeed.
Yeah.
And the argument often is, well, certain people haven't done mindset work. How do they succeed? I just think everyone has a certain threshold, depending on how you're brought up, depending on your environment, depending on what you've experienced. And so everyone has a different threshold of what they're capable of in their current operating system, in their current mindset.
Yeah.
And so, of course, some people can create more success, some people create less, just naturally without doing any mindset work. But every day is a mindset work. You know, as we're growing up, our beliefs are created between 0 and 7 years old. And so that in itself is mindset.
Yeah.
That's rewiring your brain. As you experience things throughout life, whether it's bad or good, it rewires your brain. So it's almost like your brain is doing its thing anyway.
Yeah.
We might as well have control over it. But the reason why I say pretty much 100% is because 9 times out of 10, the strategy is easy. Like, I always play this, I guess, game with my audience, and I say, what's your current price? Add a 0 to the end.
Yeah, I did that yesterday.
And I watch people's faces and they go, holy shit.
Yeah.
I can't do that. Or they go, ha, good joke, Jess. Oh, I'm not joking.
Yeah.
And so when we realize that the reactions that our body, that our mind has in that moment to say, it is not possible for me, like, we can change our price. We literally put a 0 and it's done.
Yeah.
It's so easy, right?
Yeah.
But there's so many reasons why we don't do it. And of course, I understand we need to bring the positioning and the marketing messaging as well.
Yeah, so it's not like just delirious thinking. It's actual action that comes behind that too.
Action. Yeah. But unless you believe that, one, you're worthy of charging that, two, that you know your audience will pay that, so you have belief that it's possible.
Yeah.
And three, you don't get in your head like, oh, people will think I'm greedy. People will think I'm a bitch if I charge them too much. My industry will say, how dare she charge more than me? There is so many things against us that if we can work on our mindset and becoming unstoppable and rewiring those things that are in our way, action becomes so, so easy.
Yeah.
One lady who actually, I was just reading the message before we jumped on here.
Yeah.
One lady who came to my Melbourne workshop 1 week ago today, she just messaged me. She was like, Jess, I'm so excited to continue working with you. We haven't started working together at all. But she was like, the one thing I took away from your workshop was like a mindset shift. And she was like, I was planning the website. I was planning this. I was planning that. But I thought, what would Jess do? And she was like, I just landed a 6-week client at a whole new level that she's never landed ever before. And she was like, in 3 days after the workshop. Why? Because the doing becomes easy when we remove the barriers.
Yeah, and I also just want to take space and say thank you so much for having me at the workshop yesterday, because I had some breakthrough moments. So when you talked about your TEDx journey, I was very inspired by it and I applied. So I was actually sitting there and I had my laptop and my phone.
Oh, you did it right then and there?
Yeah, I did it right there.
Oh my gosh. Congrats.
So I took the action and I was like, why am I holding myself back? And then even for podcasts, like I've reached out to people and like there's just been, in such a short amount of time, I was like, no, I have to really force myself to take the action. Why am I not taking the action? Because you broke it down so simply, like people overthink these processes and you were just like, no, I just did this. I had an Excel spreadsheet. I went and did that. And I was like, why have I just not done that? Like, it didn't make any sense. So I'll let you know how we go on that.
Yeah. I can't wait to celebrate when you're up there. That's so good.
So, out of curiosity, I guess, what was the moment when you really decided? Because I feel like entrepreneurs, we kind of start our businesses, but when is the time where you actually go full in, like, I am ready to do this? And how did you kind of change your mindset to do that? And what was that moment for you, I guess?
For me, I was all in from the start.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like, what is this idea of like, let me try.
Yeah.
Let me practice and see if it turns out. The thing is, if we go into something thinking, let me see if it works out, what we're really doing is we're handing over our power.
Yeah.
And we're saying, I'm not in control of my own results in my own life, in anything. We're saying the world, the customers, my audience, the algorithm, whatever else, we're going to put the onus on that. And we're like, if it works out, great. If it doesn't, no worries. But if you go into something with the mindset of it will work out because I'll make it work out,
it's a different thing.
You're going to show up differently. You're going to make different moves. And then it's almost guaranteed that it will work out because you're not going to stop until it does. And so for me, I still had my full-time job for a whole year before I quit, but I was all in.
Yeah.
Like I was all in. I was the worst employee ever because I was prioritizing that. I was there. My bum was on the seat. I did what I had to. And that paid for my business to really get moving in the early days. But I think it doesn't necessarily mean you have to quit your job or, do something like that. But it's the mindset of, why are we practicing when life is happening already? It's like we don't get a rehearsal to life. Why would we have a rehearsal in business?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for me personally, like I struggled a little bit with, as an entrepreneur, like, yes, I want to do multiple businesses, I want to do multiple things, but I actually, funnily enough, want to still have a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So I want to be a successful lawyer. That's a part of my trajectory. And I feel like you can definitely build the ultimate life of, balancing that with your other things outside of it. So it's
Watch out, Kim K.
Yeah. I'm trying. We'll get there.
Oh, you will.
But yeah, just because I have so many things that I want to do when it comes to impact and just my trajectory of life outside of making money, that I just feel like there's so much to do. And that's what's so exciting, is that possibility of future and building that success, and having that mindset. So it's crazy. What does confidence look like to you? And have you always been this confident?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I think I've always been confident in what I'm capable of. Because even I remember when I was 12 years old and I was in the back of the car with my parents, we were driving down the street and we went past a bank. I was like, Mum, can we just stop at the bank because I need to get a home loan? And Mum's like, what do you mean? You're 12 years old. You can't get a home loan? I was like, well, I need an investment property, obviously. So, can we just go to the bank so I can get my loan and get my investment property? And Mum's like, Jess, the bank won't give you a loan.
Yeah.
And I was like, why not? My brain was just could not understand. I was like, why not?
Yeah.
What do you mean? I'm going in there and I'm getting it. And so I've always been confident in what I'm capable of. No surprise, we didn't go to the bank because Mum was like, not realistic. But that's also what the world tells us too, right? It would be interesting if when I have kids and my kid says, hey, Mum, I need to go get a mortgage, we're like, cool, let's figure it out.
Yeah.
Maybe I have to get the mortgage. You get to be part of it. But isn't it interesting that when the world says it's not possible, we're like, cool, it's not possible. I won't worry about
just
it.
Back off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like I've always had that confidence, but the confidence in terms of being seen, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I was petrified of being seen. I was the most shy introvert. I would have forgotten what my name was. Even if, when you meet new friends and let's say you're out at a brunch and they're like, oh, what's your name? How do you do? What do you do?
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I would be like, oh my God, it's getting closer to me. It's going to be my turn in a minute. And I'd freak out and honestly forget my name. So I wasn't always confident in that aspect, but it just took practice. And I think a lot of people look at me now and they're like, you're just confident. I could never.
Yeah.
But they didn't see me 5, 10 years ago where it never would have been a thing that I would have ever thought to start a podcast, to be a personal brand. And I told this story yesterday as well, but my first ever speaking gig, for me, it was more of a logical move, not because I wanted to speak, but because I was like, I need free marketing for my business. How do I do that when I don't have money to spend on ads and things like that? So I thought, well, there's a women in business brunch. They need bikinis. They need swimwear. Let me go and talk to them and ask for a speaking gig. And it went terribly. I absolutely bombed. It was absolutely horrendous. I practiced for 4 weeks and it just did not
It
go
didn't look
well.
that bad when I saw the picture, like when you showed the picture on the thing. No, it was horrible.
It didn't go well.
Okay.
I wish there was video, but it was not good. But then I realized I didn't die.
Yep.
And then next time it got easier and easier and easier. And I was like, let me just keep putting in the reps. Like you can't just be good at something instantly. But where I see most people go wrong is they're not willing to look like the beginner. And so they avoid it, thinking that they can practice behind the scenes and suddenly be amazing at it.
Yeah.
But I looked like the beginner and I bombed it and I did it publicly.
Yeah.
And I didn't, like I cared, but I didn't let it stop me. That's what I think stops a lot of people from building confidence or from getting to where they want to be, whether it's asking the dumb questions in a room, whether it is being like, I don't even understand this. Tell me what the hell is an investor? I don't know. You know, stuff like that, that people are so worried about looking silly or people underestimating them. And I was like, underestimate me because I'm going to get all the info I need. I'm going to get the reps in.
Slay.
And yeah,
definitely slay. And what I also loved yesterday was you talked about, I guess, multiple streams of income, which I feel like for women's not really spoken enough about. So could you like briefly kind of cover, I guess, like a few different things that you kind of do to bring in income?
Yep. The list kept going on and I was like, oh my God, there's more slides. And
yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, why did I not even think of all these things?
Yep.
Yeah.
So for me, building a personal brand is truly not negotiable anymore. We're living in this age of AI, of people are craving connection more than ever. And so personal brands are really going to be the key to killing in business in the next 10 years. And I'm not talking about let me show my face on Instagram. I'm talking about let's build a full-blown movement.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's really cool because I built that before I realized it's an opportunity. Well, of course, like I knew it was a stream of income and things like that, but now I get to be at the forefront of that and share with other people how I'm building my empire as literally getting paid to be me.
Yeah.
So obviously I do coaching, mentoring, I run incredible masterminds, and that's a huge part of my income, probably the main part. But then I also run like epic retreats in Greece and next year New York City.
I know.
Which I'm so excited about.
Sign me up.
Come.
I'll be there.
It's going to be a vibe. So like I get to do just iconic things because I want to. So I get to run retreats and get paid to hang out with awesome people doing mindset work, sipping drinks on a boat and just like living life. I also do speaking gigs, so I get paid to speak. I have brand deals and sponsor deals, whether that's, you know, for my podcast, whether that's for my social media. Sometimes it's even just travel or things that are part of my lifestyle, like fashion, that get to be an income stream.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you can build a personal brand, if you can build an audience, if you are the authority and people look to you, and I'm talking beyond just like influencers now, is you can monetize all areas of that. And I think too often in business we get told stick to one thing and do it well, which is true. Where you put your energy, results flow. So if you spread your energy too thin, you're going to see a little bit of results everywhere. But because I'd built an audience, I built a personal brand, I don't have the biggest following. I don't have millions of followers, but what I do have is authority and credibility.
Yeah.
And also like a reputation that brands want to be aligned with, because it elevates their credibility when they can align with someone who's a TEDx speaker, a podcaster, a thought leader in the industry. So there are really endless ways to make money. And I think it's really cool because back even just 20 years, there was like 5 jobs for women. You could be like a secretary, a nurse, or a teacher.
Yeah.
That's 3. There was like 3 jobs. And now you can make up whatever the hell you want to
do and
literally
make so
you
much
could be
money.
like, I want to ride a bicycle down the street and sing songs and make that an offer.
Yeah.
I'm sure people do. But you could make up any way you want to get paid.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because social media has allowed us to do this. So as much as you want to love or hate it, it's like we have the opportunity to make millions more easier than ever.
Yeah.
Like back 20, even just 20 to 30 years ago, it was unheard of to earn millions in a year.
Yeah.
Especially as a woman.
Yeah.
And have time for family and fun. And like, it's wild when you think about it. And if we think about it, things are accelerating faster and faster than ever. So it's probably going to be normal in a few years to be cool. Everybody's a billionaire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's so exciting.
Yeah.
What is the biggest lesson you've kind of learnt about scaling a business, but also doing it sustainably? Because there are a lot of women that can, I guess, build a business, or men, and they can get it to a certain point, but being able to do that consistently and keeping it as a stable form of income, what kind of tips do you have for them?
Yeah. So you're talking about how do we not like ride this roller coaster of
because I mean, obviously it's always going to be a roller coaster anyway. The economy always changes. People's trends that they were liking a couple of weeks ago can change to a different one. Like, it's a part of life. But how do you, as a business owner, kind of navigate that?
So 2 things. One, we need to make sure our business model allows for it. Because if we have a business model where we have to constantly hustle to get new clients because they keep leaving or they are only in for a week or a month or whatever that looks like, that's going to be tiring. And you're putting in all this work up front and then you always have to get new customers, which costs a lot of time and money.
Yeah.
So one time I had an incredible client. She was a leader in the PR industry. She still is a leader in the PR industry. But for her, she was always in this state of scarcity and fear because her clients were on month-to-month contracts. And so even though she had this income coming in every month, her clients could all leave next month.
Yeah.
And so it put her brain into a state of, I'm never truly safe. And so her income was going like this and never really able to scale past that because it felt scary. The more she grew, then she was like, cool, $100,000 could disappear overnight.
Yeah.
And so if your business model isn't set up to sustain that long term, or you're constantly having to get new clients in, it's going to be very tiring and really hard to have that consistent income. The second thing is, though, is people go through this feast and famine. It's almost like this roller coaster of, I have no clients, so I'm going to sell and market 90% of the time. Then, oh shit, I sold and marketed too well. Now I'm full with clients. Let me stop marketing. And then, oh shit, now I've got no clients again. Let me market again. And that is probably what I see most business owners doing. And again, it comes back to the business model, because the reason why they have to stop marketing when they fill up their calendar is because now they have no time left.
Yeah.
Their business model is set up where their calendar then gets full of clients and they forget they're a business owner. And so then they're so focused on delivering to their clients, which you need to deliver on what you sold, which is great. But if you shifted the business model where you could have still time for marketing, then you can consistently market in a way that is sustainable, that you don't have to do it at midnight or on the weekends and sacrifice your life. So again, we come back to the business model. So it's kind of both, but most business owners don't realize they're doing it.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm marketing. Oh yeah, I made so much money. Amazing. And then they're like, oh shit, now I've got nothing next time.
And I loved at the event where you had the calendar of what your week actually looks like.
Yep.
And the first one was like basically what we all have, which is just full, you know, Monday to Friday full.
Yeah.
And then yours is like, it's broken up into space. So you've got other space in there.
Yeah.
How did you kind of get to that point where you realized, you know, you can't just do that full burnout cycle, which a lot of entrepreneurs go through.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I had to reach a rock bottom before I learned the lesson.
Yeah.
And that rock bottom looked like running 5 businesses at once. Also running on scarcity mindset programming. I was fearful that if I wasn't running 1,000,000 miles an hour, someone else would steal my success somehow. And that's so illogical, but it was happening subconsciously, that I wasn't actively thinking, oh my God, someone's going to steal my success. But it happens subconsciously in our programming. And so that led me to deep burnout, where I would wake up every day filled with anxiety, open the laptop while I was still in bed and start working. Because I'm like, let me fix this, let me fix this, let me sort this out, let me work. And then I would forget to eat breakfast. I would forget to get dressed. Then I'm like 3:00, oh, better eat something. And so then my body, from a physiological standpoint, was also in a state of insane stress, because if you don't eat regularly, even if you don't have any mental stress, your body then goes into a state of stress, because it's like, I don't have any fuel left.
Yeah, no resources.
So I was like burning it from all ends. And so now I can help my clients not get there, because I'm like, okay, cool. Why are we feeling overwhelmed? Let's shift it before we even get close to that.
Yeah.
So for me, I had to reach the rock bottom. And that's when then I sat and just asked myself, like, what does success mean to me in that moment? And I was like, I just want to feel calm. I just want to feel calm. Like my heart was racing. My cortisol was insane. I was just running on adrenaline every day. And so I was like, cool. Are these businesses really my purpose, or was I just doing them because I could? Because I truly believe I could start any business and it would be great. But should I? Probably not. So I kind of had to strip back, and for a little while I started exiting and selling my companies. It took about another 2 years before I sold my swimwear brand, because selling a global company with international warehouses and IP and trademarks, it was a difficult process. But I then just came back to, like, what does success mean to me? And then I was already doing coaching and mentoring, and I went all in on that. Well, I was already all in on it, but then I had more space to energy to give it.
Yeah.
And then I really had to structure my calendar. So even now, I structure travel time, shower time, like lunch time. And for my lunch breaks, I schedule 2 hours, because what always happens is we're like still doing the previous thing, and then an hour goes by and we're like, oops, missed lunch, I'll keep working.
Oh my God, I didn't even think of that. That's so smart. Yeah.
So I have 2 hours, because then I'm like, if I eat into that a little bit, I've still got an hour and a half.
Yeah, wow.
And then I make sure that I have that space. And if I finish lunch earlier, whatever, or I can take 2 hours and hang out, and I sometimes watch Real Housewives, or like go for a walk, or do something to kind of reset my day, so that I'm not just in that hustle mode. But I schedule everything, because then there's almost like this external accountability, because my natural state is, let's freaking go. Like, let's just run and keep going. And I can, but I shouldn't.
Yeah.
So having it all scheduled in also allows me to make sure I have space for the work, so that when I'm resting, what it does for me in my brain is, you know, when you're resting and you're like, oh shit, I got a million things to do, I shouldn't be resting now. A lot of people have guilt, or they have these intrusive thoughts of, oh, but you haven't done that yet, or you haven't done this yet. And so for me, I'm like, it's in the calendar.
Yeah.
I don't know what day or where it is, but I know there's time scheduled for it. So that's cool. It's scheduled over there. This time is rest time. And it almost just puts my brain at ease, and actually then reduces the amount of energy that I'm holding in my brain for 50 million things, because I'm doing so many projects all at once.
Yeah.
And so then my brain can just focus on what I'm doing in that moment, which is really cool.
That's so many like good tips of advice just there.
Yeah.
I love that so much. And we kind of talked a little bit about women's rights, but I thought I'd just ask a question, because you're very passionate about it. So women's rights have come a long way, but do you still think there are things that are holding women back in regards to going into entrepreneurship and leading in business?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. So the thing is, like, obviously there were barriers to women having success. There are still societal pressures. There are still things there. But I truly believe that barriers only exist if you choose to focus on them. So are we going to continue holding on to this narrative that it's hard for us? If we're continually perpetuating this narrative, it's so hard, I'm a woman, I can't do it, men have it easier, how do you think that's going to show up in our lives, in how we operate? And so I'm a big believer, whilst yes, I can acknowledge there's barriers, there's challenges, there's things that exist, I choose not to look at them, and I choose to actually see that women have a huge advantage. Women have a huge opportunity where our brains actually work in a really powerful way where we can actually hold a lot more things.
Yeah.
We have this superpower of multitasking. We have this superpower of kind of being nurturing, but also getting shit done, being hyper organized. And so there's so many benefits as well.
Yeah.
So I choose to focus on what narratives is going to serve me. If it's not serving me, then I don't focus on it. I don't worry about it. Yeah.
Because I found it really empowering at the dinner where you were standing up and you said, you know, only 50 years ago, women just got access to credit cards.
Yeah.
And I was like sitting at this table of just all these amazing women, and I was like, this is insane. This is literally the time that we all need to really harness our power and step into it. And I just love everything you stand for in relation to that. So I thought I'd bring that up.
Yeah.
So you've shared your message on incredible stages like TEDx. What inspired you to even go on TEDx, and what was kind of the idea behind it?
Yeah, for me, kind of a lot of my speaking and things like that is just really purpose driven.
Yeah.
Doing TEDx is really cool because it's not a speaking gig. It's really built around ideas worth spreading. And so a lot of people, I guess, don't understand that, like, I'm not going to pitch and be like, let me teach everybody about personal branding. It's, do you have a unique idea that's never been spoken about in that way before that can change or create almost like a movement of something? And so for me, I really wanted to speak about like this nice girl syndrome, that how women kind of tone down their success. And so I did a whole TEDx about being obnoxious about our success. Why can't we say, damn, I'm proud of myself? Like, look at what I'm achieving and really own it. So for me, I was like, this is a mission and message that I'm on. I want to share this on one of the biggest stages in the world to have that global reach, to have that impact. And that was the same thing with my book, because TEDx, you don't get paid. Your book, I earn very minimal commissions, royalties on a book. And so for me, those two things were more purpose driven, and they took a lot of time and energy. The book was like 2 years of deep focus.
Yeah.
The TEDx was like months on end where I couldn't do anything else, because with a TEDx, you have to memorize it. And I normally just like to wing my speeches. I know the gist of what I'm saying. I'm going to feel into what the room needs. TEDx, you have to be on time. Otherwise, if you go overtime, your whole slot is cancelled.
Wow.
So yeah, for those two things, like I put in all this time and energy. And when I was doing that, there's like this inner voice that's like, Jess, you're not spending any time on your actual business where you actually make money, and like, oh shit, like what's happening? So my inner voice felt a little bit more unsafe around, you need to focus on your core business. That's where you make the most money. That's where you do the things. But for me, I just kind of ground back into, I know that I have the skills to bring in income. Like, it's fine. My business was still bringing in income, but there's this inner voice that's like, but you're not selling, or you're not like
you're not
getting new clients right now, or you're not posting about what you need to post about, because you're posting about your book, which makes you no money, very minimal money anyway. But I was like, this is my purpose. This is my mission. And when I invested that time into that, that's when my business grew 10x after each time of doing things like that. And sometimes we just go through seasons in business where maybe it's winter or spring and we're kind of sowing the seeds. And it's like, we're not in this big reaping the rewards phase. But then when it comes to it, the rewards get to be so, so fruitful.
That is amazing. And what's the core message you want people to take from your personal brand?
My personal brand is really just helping women create unstoppable success. And that to me is like the playing in fantasy land, being delusional, being, just dreaming bigger than ever. And then looking at, okay, to get there, how do we just remove all the roadblocks? How do we work on our mindset so that we don't give up when things get hard? How do we implement the easeful strategies so that we can have massive illogical levels of success, wealth, income, impact without having to hustle to get there?
Yeah, and I love that so much because, it can literally change so many women's lives. And speaking on that, has there been any transformations, you don't have to like mention names or anything, that have really kind of made you step back and go, wow, like I really need to keep doing this and scale it even further?
Every day.
Yeah.
Even just the message that I got from a girl who just came to my workshop, making sales instantly. And I think that's, I guess, my superpower is people come into my world, feel activated, and then shit just happens. Like you applied for your TEDx, which, you could have gone to someone who tells you a 50 million step process on how to get a TEDx talk or, and so I've had clients come to me. One client recently, actually just 1 year ago, came to me knowing that she had this desire for more, but was like, I don't even know, what is it? What do I need to start a new business? And I was like, what about a personal brand? She was like, never thought of that before. And within a year, she worked through so many mindset blocks that said, can't talk about money in that way, that said, who am I to claim this space? I'm just new. Like there were so many things, and then the strategies and the tools and the, processes that we worked through. And after just 1 year, literally like in a couple of weeks, she's running her first ever sold out workshop at Crown. She's killing it. She's launched masterminds. She's run a retreat. She's done all these things in a year. And she recently just surpassed almost $100,000 cash month or $100,000 sales month in her first year in business.
That's insane.
And that's where I honestly believe like mentorship is the fastest route to your goals. Because if someone's already done it, for me, it took me a few years to get to 100K month. If I can hand the tools to someone else and be like, all this heartache, the challenges, the sleepless night, the stress, if I can hand that to someone else to help them get there in like 1% of the time, that is so worth it. Like, worth every single thing to me. One, because I've then been able to do it for myself, which is just so soul-fulfilling. I get to build my own wealth. But then to have that ripple effect onto them. And then because she's built her personal brand, she's now impacting hundreds and thousands of women. And that kind of started with me paving the path.
Yeah.
And then those women get to impact. And then the ripple effect just never ends because then it impacts their kids and then their kids. And like, I think we have to pause and realize, holy shit, if I didn't do this, sure, they might have created success anyway. But we have to acknowledge that that ripple effect is huge. I didn't just help one person, but I helped her help thousands and they helped thousands. And it just like is incredible.
And I love it so much. And I also love the fact that you spoke a lot about how we need to support each other as women in a cultural way. So more so in the sense of like, if you see somebody trying to succeed in something, you need to support that person. And also you spoke on something which I really loved, which is you need to also forgive the people who don't do that.
Yes.
That was a big thing. Can you take me through, I guess, kind of that specifically and how you kind of got to that conclusion? Because that's a massive statement that you made, and it was quite impactful. Like I remember looking around the table and I was like, holy moly, like so many people haven't even thought about this.
Yeah. So it's interesting when you start to create more success because it then becomes a mirror for other people to see where they're not achieving their goals yet or where they're not playing big or not allowing themselves. And for them, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And as humans, we are wired this way where a comparison steps in, where it says, I'm not safe. And sometimes people are triggered by others' success. And I think it's our own role to look in and say, why was that triggering? Why did I feel I need to unfollow them, mute them, or comment something nasty or, go into this fight or flight mode. And so if we can do the inner work on, that's interesting. Let me reflect on why I feel uncomfortable about them having success. Not everyone, unfortunately, has the self-awareness.
Yeah.
Not everyone is doing the inner work, and at every level we continue to do the inner work.
Yeah.
But as a leader, we have to just get comfortable with holding it, which is unfortunate. We shouldn't have to hold it, yes. But the other option is we go back into our hole, we don't make the impact, we don't stand up for what we want to create a mission and message around, and we avoid it.
Yeah.
That's fine too. But if you're on a mission, you're going to have to put it out there and get the haters, get the people who say, who are you? I even had a friend recently, she's launched her own podcast called She's Making Millions, and people messaged her being like, hey, I'm really just concerned about what makes you credible to call your podcast She's Making Millions. And she's like, well, because I've made millions.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that. But like, people for some reason are so offended by it.
Yeah.
And so I feel as leaders, we have to almost be okay with holding the projections. And by holding them, I don't mean internalizing it and, taking it on board and thinking about it all day, but I just mean holding it. Cool. Thanks so much for your concern, but I'm going to keep on my mission. And I think that's where a lot of people don't continue to pursue what they want to pursue because it's uncomfortable. The more you have an opinion, the more you stand out, the more you change an industry, the more you charge prices, the more you say, wow, look at all my success. People say you're not humble, you're not. And so for us to kind of feel safe as leaders in that, you kind of just have to forgive and realize that they're not doing it out of hate.
Yeah.
They're doing it out of self-protection. They're in a state of fight or flight. Like, I feel unsafe and I don't know how to process. And so their automatic response is, let me bring them back down to where I feel I am. Back to my level so that then I can feel safe again.
Yeah.
And if we understand that human behavior is really just people out there trying to survive the best way they know how, it hurts a whole lot less. It still hurts and it's still shitty, but it allows us to realize, well, they're just hurting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I even started this podcast, and it's power without permission, people are like, what do you mean power? What are you talking about? Like, don't understand. And I was like, that's okay. That's your thing, but this is my thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like having that clarity in yourself is really, really important as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What was one belief that you had to let go of to become the person you are today?
So many, all the time.
Yeah.
I think, the biggest myth is that you do the mindset work and you're done. I think that's the biggest block to a lot of people's success. I'm always uncovering new things because if you're playing outside your comfort zone, you're going to have a level of resistance. But the biggest shift for me was probably just around realizing that, like, fear can never outweigh purpose. If your purpose is always bigger than your fear, then you can do anything.
Yeah.
And that's what got me through showing up on social media when I really would rather not. That's what got me through doing the speaking gigs in the early days. That's what kind of pushes me forward in the moments where I think it would kind of be easier to not.
Yeah.
Because I know if I can impact just one person from anything I've said or even just done, because people are always watching what you do more than what you say, then it's so worth the, getting out of my comfort zone. It's so worth feeling the fear. It's so worth putting in the work to create something that people haven't created before. So I always come back to the purpose because it's not about us. But our brain will say, oh, I might look silly or I might mess up or I might do this. But it's that mindset shift of, well, I'm willing to look silly if I can help someone. And when you do that, it's like a no-brainer.
Yeah. And do you think we're officially out of the influencer era?
I think it's interesting, this word influencer. I don't know why people get weird about it. It's like, you are a person of influence.
Yeah.
You're an influencer.
Yeah.
Like, what is bad about that? To me, I think that's freaking great.
Yeah.
And even influencers themselves, they're like, don't you dare call me an influencer. And I think it's just gotten this connotation of you just post about random products and you don't really have a mission and you're not a business person and you just post on Instagram. But I think that in itself, like, if you influence people, you're an influencer. Whether you're a stay-at-home mom, whether you're a person of, public figure, I think it's kind of powerful to own that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's kind of got this bad rap, similar to the word girl boss. Sophia Amoruso wrote her book and did her TV series on girl boss, and she's recently just been posting, like, who made this word weird? Like, the word was, you're a boss and you're a girl.
Yeah.
And it's like this empowerment piece. But then when women started getting too powerful, they were like, nope, girl boss means hustle. Girl boss means all the bad things about success. And she was like, who made that mean that? And it's like when things get too powerful, people dismiss it. So influencers had an incredible, I guess it was kind of when I started my swimwear brand from about 2016 to maybe 2019, 2020, where influencer marketing, influencers was like a major thing. It was the thing. And then when it got too successful, then people were like, influencers are not that special. Influencers are not business owners. Influencers are just Instagrammers. So it's like we always take this word, once it gets too powerful, we're like, let me dismiss it. So I think influencers are people of influence, and people of influence will always exist because people are looking for people that they trust to kind of lead the way. And it's kind of what I was saying before around, if you're a leader, you're doing things that people haven't yet done yet. You're paving the path. You're showing people what's possible, and that's influence to me.
That's amazing. And I just wanted to talk about your book as well. So what inspired you to write it? And I'd also just ask the question as well, writing takes a lot of courage. It's a lot of work. And what kind of got you through that whole process?
Yeah. I'm not a writer at all.
Yeah.
Some people write a book because they're like, I love writing. My whole life I've loved writing and I just want to write a book. For me, I was like, I have a mission and message to share. And the best method to get that out, because I already have the podcast, my social media, my platforms, my audience, my community. But I was like, I want this in the hands of people who don't even know I exist.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was like, that is getting a book in bookstores. I could have self-published, but then that's reaching my current community.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, I need a publishing deal. And so I was very dead set on it needs to be published, because to get it in bookstores, it has to go through a publisher.
Yeah.
And so I was hell-bent on getting that publisher. I got the publisher, which was awesome. But kind of to get a publisher, you have to have the book written.
Yeah.
So I actually enrolled an editor because I had years worth of podcasts, worth of keynote speeches, worth of lessons, I have millions of hours of thought leadership from my brain, not from textbook stuff that I learned from someone else and regurgitated, my own thought leadership that was already there. It just needed to be put in the format of a book. And I was like, I don't like writing. I don't like writing. So I was like, here's everything. Even just that took a lot of time. I had to search all my archives. I had to organize it, like all the money stuff for the money chapter, and get everything together. And then she kind of put it in and made it make sense.
Yeah.
And then she was kind of like, cool, we need a story here because it's very information heavy, this chapter. Then I would just write kind of the bits that we needed, which was, I'm very, if you haven't noticed, very methodical and very logical. And I'm like, what's the easiest route to get to where I need to go?
Yeah.
And let me do it that way. Because I could have tried to sit down and I just can't write. I read my first book in full when I was 20 years old.
Yeah.
First book ever.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about you, but that's so cool.
Yeah.
And if you had to sum up the core truth of unstoppable success in one sentence, what would it be?
Oh, one sentence. Well, it's really just the pure definition of word, not stopping. Unstoppable success is not stopping. Because when we're hit with barriers, boundaries, challenges, roadblocks, we always have two choices. And too often I see people outsource their power. They say, I'm not capable. It's not possible. It's like the world doesn't want it. My audience doesn't want it. And we're blaming everything else.
Yeah.
But 2 choices: pause, give up, go back to the comfort zone. And that's fine if you value safety over the goals. But most ambitious people don't.
Yeah.
And that's why we feel like a failure, or we feel like things are stopping or whatever. And the other option is you keep going despite the challenges. And what I find is that most people want the success, but they're not willing to do what it takes. And when I say willing, people think hustle. I'm not talking about hustle. I'm talking about getting resourceful. If you don't have the money, how can you get resourceful? When I didn't have the money, I said, let me do a speaking gig.
Yeah.
When I did not want to, when I would rather not have to get out of my comfort zone, do the one thing that petrified me more than anything, but I was willing to get to that end goal. So it's just asking yourself, like, what are you willing to do to get there? And if you're not willing, that's fine, but own it.
Accept it.
Own it. Don't blame the world or the economy or whatever else. It's you who's stopped, because there's always a way.
And I noticed as well yesterday you spoke about how you would reach out to people to get, you know, the amazing guests that you've had on your podcast, and you were very like determined. And if you sent one email and you wouldn't get the response, you'd email them again, and then you'd email them again.
Yeah.
How did you get to that stage of like, I'm definitely just going to push myself to get all these things because that's how I'm going to succeed?
Yeah, my brain is very logical. So I'm like, well, if we separate the facts from the narratives, most people are living in the narratives.
Yeah.
The narrative says they don't like me. They don't want it. They've read the email. They hate me. I'm annoying. Like, who said that?
Yeah.
Nobody said that. You just made that up. That's a narrative.
Yeah.
The fact is they didn't reply yet.
Yeah.
So if they didn't reply yet and we think logically about it, well, if we need a reply, we need to email them again, you know? And when we come back to logic, it's like, obviously I would email again, and they just haven't seen it, or they're busy, or, you know, whatever it might be. I'm going to keep emailing until they see it, until they reply. Or if they don't see my email, maybe I'll try a DM, or maybe I'll try, you know, something else. But too many people are living in the narratives of something that's not even true whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And can you think of one person that you've interviewed that you've taken a life lesson from that you still use today? Or like a favorite interview? I mean, I'm sure all of them are your favorite interviews that you've had.
So many. Elena Cardone, though, was really incredible.
Yeah.
She is just unapologetically her.
Yeah.
She talks about wealth unapologetically, and as a woman, that's really freaking cool. So I actually often take away not so much what people say, but just how they show up.
Yeah.
And she shows up just so unapologetically. But one thing that she said on the podcast, which was just so powerful, is that wealth is like the ocean. If you go to the ocean and you take a few buckets of water, the ocean doesn't notice. The world doesn't notice. Everyone else still gets to go to the beach and enjoy the ocean. So why do we treat money as if it's limited?
Wow.
There's trillions of dollars in this world. Why don't we go and say, I'm going to have my buckets worth, and take as many buckets as you want, and the ocean's still going to be there?
Yeah, I love that so much. What does embodied leadership look like to you?
Embodied leadership is like the kryptonite to imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
So most people feel like they're not enough.
Yeah.
They're not experienced enough, or they don't have enough success, or someone else out there is doing more than them. And so then they get in this state of imposter. And then what happens is, to counteract the imposter, then they try and show up bigger, bolder, kind of inflate things. And this is not from a place of lying, but it's like even just the energy that they show up with, they feel like they have to be someone more. Then of course you're going to feel like an imposter, because now you are an imposter.
Yeah.
Now you're actually showing up in a different way, instead of being grounded and embodied in where I am right now is freaking awesome. And there's always going to be someone ahead of you. There's always going to be someone 10 steps, 1 step, 50 steps ahead. There's always going to be that
other person.
And you kind of want that.
Yeah.
Because that expands you. And so if we can almost ground into where I am right now is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, some of my clients are like, oh, I work in confidence, but how can I help business owners if I'm not making millions? I'm like, what has millions got to do with confidence?
Yeah.
Own that you are a confidence expert. You don't have to talk that you're earning millions of dollars. You have to talk about you've done X years of study in confidence, or you've been working on your confidence personally for how long, or you've helped 3 clients work on their confidence. You didn't need 3,000 clients.
Yeah.
Own that you've had 3 clients, or you've helped that one friend with their confidence. Like, what if we could just own that and realize that that's enough? That to me is embodied leadership, and that is more magnetic. Because I'm sure you've seen it online, and I'm sure everyone listening has seen it. We're like, you're saying the right things, but I don't believe you.
Yeah, like there's not enough conviction.
Yeah, and it's like this energetic mismatch of the words and the embodiment. And so if we truly want to win and magnetize dream clients and have people follow the movement that you're building, you have to realize that where you're at is great.
Yeah, and you have quite a calm nature about you. And I am kind of the same a little bit in a lot of senses. And I was told when I first started that I really needed to like amplify my voice and amplify my character and like really get into this zone. But what advice would you give to somebody who has the same kind of energy of, because you're very much authentic to yourself and that's what's kind of grown your brand?
Yeah. Well, for a long time, because I'm very much the introvert and I was very much the shy person. And I used to see these people on stages, and some of them my incredible friends in their glitzy sequins, they're dancing, they're like, woo, you know, screaming and yelling and dropping the F bombs. And I was like, so to be on stage and have stage presence, I need to start dropping F bombs. And like these were genuine thoughts that went through my mind. It sounds crazy illogical, but I was like, do I need to be like, woo, you know, do I need to be louder? Do I need to yell? Do I need to be like, bam? And I was like, no,
Yeah.
that's them. But that's the narrative that I was only seeing, because they were saying all the stories that I was seeing for a long time was like, to be authentic, they were told not to swear. So they're like, F it, I'm going to swear now. And I was like, oh, so to be authentic, they were like, oh, now I'm going to swear and now I'm going to do this. And I was like, oh, interesting. And there was no one out there saying, to be authentic, be your quiet self.
Yeah.
There was no one saying that. And I had to figure this out. I actually read an incredible book by Susan Cain called Quiet.
Okay.
And she wrote this book about how being quiet is the biggest superpower, because most people don't have it. Most people are trying to be the loudest one in the room, be the most, visible, be the most present. And actually being the quietest one means you're listening more. Means you're like, it's a different superpower. It doesn't mean that loud people don't listen, but it's like owning that superpower. And I can get onto the stage and deliver something really potent and sometimes that tough love, but then I have the calmness that kind of allows it to land.
Yeah.
But because if I was super brutal to people, which sometimes I am, and I was like savage and I was like, woo, and then people would be like, shit, I'm freaking scared. So it's kind of like a good balance, and everyone has their own energy, their own thing.
Yeah.
And when people started calling me confident, I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean I'm confident? But they would say quiet confidence. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah, that's empowering in itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, I just wanted to ask you firstly, what does power without permission mean to you?
Oh, power without permission. Honestly, it's like straight there in the words. I love this so much.
Yeah.
But I think so often we're looking for someone else to say, wow, you're powerful, or looking for that external, I guess, credibility or validation, or the audience or the people to say, you're allowed to have power now. Or, hey, why don't you do a TEDx talk? Or, hey, why don't you start a podcast? Or, hey, why don't you step into your power and own your space and say, I am the leader in my industry? And what if we just said, I'm doing it anyway?
Yeah.
That to me is kind of what my journey has been, but also what that brings up for me.
What legacy do you want to leave behind one day?
Honestly, the legacy of just being unstoppable. And it took me so long to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like now I'm so convicted on my brand because I've done so much deep inner work to figure out who the hell I am. And that feels like the truest embodiment of just my entire life of being unstoppable. And if I can help more people be unstoppable, then everything is possible.
I love that so much. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.